For more than 20 years, I've been obsessed with guitars. From playing them, to working on them, to buying and collecting them, I've built quite the collection of awesome guitars. This season I'm going to be going more in-depth, showing you some of the partial builds and behind-the-scenes stuff that I've never shown before. I'll also be answering some of your questions that I've been receiving in the comments below these videos. Of course, I'll be refinishing, refretting, rewiring, whatever it takes to turn these guitars into some real shred machines. This is Trash to Thrash. Hello everybody, welcome back to Trash to Thrash. I'm your host Mark Murray, and I welcome you to the Season 3 finale. It's episode 42 over here, and I'm thinking back to all the guitars I've done over the last 41 episodes. It's a bit mind-blowing. The past 16 months, since the show has started, I've rebuilt over 40 guitars, which has been insane. When Trash to Thrash started, I had a full-time job and a few side jobs. Since launching the show, I've been fortunate enough to be able to quit all my jobs and focus 100% on guitars. My quality of work has gone through the roof since launching the show, and my numbers have exploded. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and of course for hitting that like button. Between rebuilding guitars, YouTube, and Patreon, I'm now an independent man without a boss. I'll be honest, it's hard work. I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, 7 days a week. But let's be real here, I love it. I really love it. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. And I get to work from home where I have my 2 kids and my fiance, and getting to be around them all day is amazing. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. Keep spreading the word. You're making my dream a reality. Now, this is the Season 3 finale. I'll be back Thursday, May 5th. So 5 weeks from today, Season 4 is going to kick off with some insane builds. I'll still have weekly guitar videos here, so be sure to stop by and watch those too. Now today we'll be working on an early 2000s Korean-made LTD EX-100. It's a sharpened Explorer type body, and I got a great deal on it on Reverb. This is the guitar. The body shape is ESP's attempt at an original design for an Explorer. It's pretty obvious. The reason they started making this model was because there was a lawsuit between Gibson and ESP. ESP had been making Explorers very similar to Gibson's design, and Gibson had had enough of it. They sued ESP for multiple designs, and ESP was forced to redesign some of their guitars. This is quite a bit more aggressive and modern than the classic Gibson Explorers in my opinion. Googling around, I couldn't find much information on what type of wood the body's made out of. It's probably alder or mahogany. This guitar is 24 3/4 inch scale. It has a maple neck, a rosewood fretboard, 22 frets, and a tunematic bridge. To me, this body shape has really aged well with time. I wasn't a huge fan when they first came out. I saw some metalcore bands like Atreyu using them, but for me, I'm a bit of an Explorer traditionalist. I like Explorers with 2 humbuckers, a tunematic bridge, standard headstock, and a rounded ESP or Gibson shape. But these LTD EX series were far from a traditional Explorer. Now I see them almost as a Rhodes version of an Explorer. I actually really dig them now. The body shape has really grown on me. I had one around 2006, and I bought it at a Sam Ash on the way to a gig for my old band luckDOWN. It was an EX-50 model, and I got it super cheap because it had a big chip on the corner. I took it home and threw some bright red blood splatter on it and dropped in a set of EMGs. Not much has changed. At the time I was playing in a Screamo band, so this guitar really fit the look I wanted. We were playing live every weekend, sometimes 2 or 3 shows in a weekend, and my main stage guitars at that time were my old 94 Rhodes that I rebuilt into the green and purple Tiger Rhodes, my Gibson Flying V, and this EX-50. And now, as I always do, I handed the guitar off to my shop assistant Ryan, who has the task of disassembling the guitar and then sanding it down. There's a finish in my head that I've been wanting to try on a guitar, and I haven't had the right guitar yet, but I think this is the perfect candidate for it. Kind of like the Alien Blood paint jobs I do, where it's matte black with gloss splatter, there's another color combo I've been wanting to try, and I think it's time to do it on this guitar. It's going to get painted matte black with gloss gold splatter. This color combination was inspired by the UFC champions. When they fight, they get to wear black uniforms with gold lettering. Non-champions wear a more standardized uniform. And there's something about black and gold together that's so luxurious. When you see a black and gold Les Paul Custom, it just stuns you. So this guitar will be somewhat of a hybrid between classy and luxurious coloring with an extreme body shape and splatter. Now this is something I get asked about all the time, and we'll make a more in-depth video on it in the future. The question is, how do you remove the bushings that mount the tunematic bridge? We use a series of washers and different length screws to force the bushings up and out of the guitar. By placing a flat washer down on the surface of the guitar and placing some type of spacer on top of that washer, you can then insert a screw, and a screw will pull out the bushings. I've seen higher end tools that do the exact same job, but this does it simply for basically no money. And so far we haven't had any finishes chip using this method. You'll see here that you have to remove the bridge pickup and ring to access the bushings for the intonatable bridge part of the tune-o-matic. See, as we set the washers down here, they would have hit the bridge pickup ring. Now we can easily remove the bridge bushings. The last thing to do is to desolder the pickups and pull out all the electronics. There's a lot of dirty work involved with working on guitars, so when we're sanding or doing anything like this, we always go outside. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. You can even see the palm tree in the reflection of the guitar. But not for long, as Ryan sands down the guitar using 600 grit sandpaper and a palm sander. This guitar is a non-commissioned shop build, meaning I just bought it on Reverb, I had an idea for it, and we just went for it. No big modifications, this guitar didn't really need much body repair. There was one pretty big chip on one of the corners, but it was just in the paint, and Ryan was able to sand it out. Being that it didn't need any repairs, all this work theoretically could have been done in one day. We start working early, 4 or 5 in the morning, and we could disassemble this guitar and have it sanded by 6:30 a.m. I could have it out in the paint booth by 10:30 a.m., and I could even throw the clear on it by noon or 1 p.m. Then we could throw the splatter later in the afternoon and let it cure for a week or so. The following Saturday could have been reassembly, restring, rewire, intonate, and setup, and all that good stuff. So it would be possible to turn around a guitar like this in 1 week, being that it didn't need any Bondo or modifications or big repairs. And that's something I've been thinking about for a little while. I want to challenge Ryan and myself to rebuilding a guitar in less than a week. I wouldn't want to rush anything or skip any steps, so it would have to be the right guitar to do this. And everything would have to go perfectly to plan. Now, that's not how we built this guitar. When Ryan disassembles and sands guitars, he typically does them in batches of 3 to 5 guitars at a time. So he'll disassemble 3, bring them all outside, and then sand all 3. When you have a ton of projects going on, you have to do it this way because setup time and cleanup time is a big part of the job. So to only have to set up once but do 3 jobs, and only have to clean up once and do 3 jobs is a big time saver. Now we have the first coat of black on, and it's looking good. I'll do 2 more coats just like this before we do any clear. And you know how we do it around here, always matching the headstocks to the body. Give it that truly custom look. Whenever I find a Korean-made late 90s or early 2000s LTD for a good price, I buy it up. That is, as long as it meets my requirements. The main thing I look at is the neck. Is it warped or severely bowed? And how's the fretboard look? I don't necessarily care too much about the frets themselves because they can be replaced. And if the electronics aren't working, that's fine too, I can fix that. But if I have to refret it, that's going to cost me, so I need to factor that into the price. The next thing I look at is the body. Are there any cracks? I usually refinish the guitar, so I don't care if there's chips or dings or scratches. And to be honest, I prefer that it does have some because that's going to scare away the competition and lower the price for me. I just picked up this LTD Aero 401 for 350 bucks. The body's pretty trashed, but when I'm finished with it, you'll never be able to tell it once looked like this. By the way, if this was your guitar, how would you have me refinish it for you? What mods would you have me do? What pickups? Give me some inspiration for this thing. If I go with your choice, I'll shout you out on a future episode. Now, another thing I always consider is what pickups are in it, what bridge, what tuners, what parts, and does it come with the case? That stuff is huge. I bought an MH-1000 for $375 once because it had significant body damage. But it was still a killer deal because I can refinish it myself. And even if I couldn't, this guitar came with an ESP hardshell case. That's $150. Then Grover tuners, about 65 bucks. The Floyd Rose 1000 that it came with is worth about $175. And the EMG 8185 pickups were about a $200 value. So even if the guitar was unsalvageable, that's still $590 in parts in a case if I were to go out and buy them. I think these 1997 to 2005 Korean LTDs are some of the best bolt-on guitars for metal maybe ever made. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of companies out there that have these hidden gems that are still affordable. Between LTD, Jackson, and Ibanez, there's still some great older used guitars out there for a really good price. When I buy a guitar for myself, I almost always buy them used. Most of the guitars I buy are older and they're no longer made. And when you buy used, you get a huge savings. Pretty much anything can be fixed. And that's how I got my start collecting guitars, was buying guitars that had, no pickups in them or they weren't working, and I can buy them and repair them and save a few bucks that way. Now, I've already sprayed the clear on the body, but I haven't done it on the headstock, and there's a reason why. Before I put the clear on, I'm going to add an LTD logo back to the headstock. For some of my custom guitars, I like to add custom colored logos, but for this one, since it's going black, I think that the stock LTD colors are going to look really good, which is silver with the gold shadowing. If there's an accent color on the guitar, like this one will have gold splatter, I don't want to do a gold logo because the splatter and the logo are going to kind of blend together where the splatter goes over the logo, and I like there to be a little more contrast there and make the logo pop. Now that looks clean. I shot some clear over that to kind of seal in the logo, and then it's back into the paint booth with the body and the headstock. And it's time for some gold splatter. But it looks awesome to me. Alright, I think we're good here. Another thing to consider when you're doing a splatter paint job is the direction that the splatter is running. You don't want the paint to be dripping upward on the guitar. That's why I turned the guitar a little more flat here. Of course, we gotta splatter the headstock too. And again, the key is not too much splatter because now we have a logo we're working with here, and I do like to get the splatter on top of the logo, but I don't want it to be covering the logo so it's hard to read. Yeah, and this looks good. Now it's time to mount the neck and reassemble the guitar. I started by pushing the bridge bushings back in. With the materials and methods that I use, flat and satin paint jobs tend not to go on quite as thick as a high gloss paint job. Sometimes with a high gloss paint job you have to re-drill holes for the posts or for the pots or the switches, and that's because the high gloss clear is very thick, so it fills in the hole a little bit. In this case the bushings went back in pretty easily. Now it's time to drop the pickups in. Since the pickups run through the body, we have to put the neck pickup in first, and then add the bridge pickup. Then we'll mount the pickup rings using some Phillips head screws. For this guitar, I upgraded the pickups to a set of EMG 8185 pickups. The 85 actually has a gold logo, which matches the gold on this guitar, and that's really cool. Originally, this guitar came with some cheaper LTD pickups, so these EMGs are going to really upgrade it. When I had my old EX-100 back in the day, I had the EMG 8185 combo. Now, no Guitar Guts build would be complete without a kill switch, so we go over to the drill press for that. And usually I drill this ahead of time, but like I said, sometimes when you add clear and you're adding multiple layers of paint, these holes get filled in a little bit and you have to re-drill them anyway. So sometimes I'll wait till after the guitar is refinished to start drilling holes like this. With this guitar, one of my goals was to keep the cost low. I got a pretty good deal on this guitar and I want to pass that along to whoever buys it. That means I'm not going to be loading it up with super expensive parts. I love building guitars decked out with all the top of the line stuff, but parts are expensive, so where I can I'm going to reuse the original parts. These tuners were in great shape still and they felt solid, so I'm going to reuse them. A real nice set of locking tuners from Goto or Hipshot is about $100 or more, and I want to keep this guitar under $1,000 shipped with a soft case. For a custom painted LTD Explorer with nice EMG pickups, I mean, that's a great deal in my opinion. Now this is something I'll throw in complimentary when I'm doing a build for a lot of people, is cleaning the frets and oiling the fretboard. After doing all this work to a guitar, you can't put it back together with a dry neck and dirty frets. I mean, that just is going to be an eyesore. So we're using some silicone-free lemon oil to give that fretboard some juice. I'll pour some down the length of the fretboard, using a cloth to help clean everything. Then I'll give it another light coating of oil, just so it could really soak it in. I'll typically let it sit there for an hour, absorbing the oil, and then I'll wipe off all the excess. If this is something you guys would like to see in more detail, let me know down in the comments, and I'll make a video in depth about this. Hey guys, I want to give a shout out to my old friend Greg, who runs a YouTube channel called Shred Ain't Dead. He's an old friend of mine from back in middle school, and he told me I'm one of the people responsible for influencing him to pick up the guitar. That's so cool to hear. I ran into him at NAMM a couple years back, and it was great to see him. Greg and I sort of grew apart through high school and through my Screamo days, but to see what he's become is inspiring. He lit a fire under my ass a few years back. I was still at my day job, and he told me about his story, becoming a full-time guitar teacher and guitarist. Guitar was paying all of his bills, and it really got me thinking about how I could be making a living based around guitar. To be honest, I didn't really want to teach people how to play, but it definitely beats working for the man. I never formally learned music theory, and it would have been my greatest fear to be exposed by a student who asked a question above my head. I thought, if I'm going to teach, I need to know more. I ended up learning quite a bit of music theory, but also in that time I found my footing with refinishing and rebuilding guitars, and I couldn't be happier. I like collecting and working on guitars as much as I like playing them, so this is a dream come true to me. Greg gives one-on-one private lessons through Zoom, so if you want to take some lessons from an experienced teacher who can shred right from the comfort of your own home, hit him up. For real, hit him up. You'll be super happy you did. He recently did a review of my Kill Boost pedal, and it was really fun to watch. Go check it out. I'll have links to Greg's channel, his Kill Boost review, and his email listed down in the description below. Alright, our EX-100 is getting real close here. Next thing to do is start wiring it up, and I'm going to add this gold Guitar Guts kill switch. You can get this kill switch and the Kill Boost pedal over at guitarguts.com, as well as this guitar. This EX-100 is actually for sale at guitarguts.com. Just click the link at the top that says guitars for sale, and you'll see the kill switch, the Kill Boost pedal, and all the guitars that I have available there at my website. Next, I'll start stringing the guitar up and get it ready to intonate. Ernie Ball Slinkies are my favorite strings, so for this one we're going to use some 1046s. For my demo today, I'm actually going to be tuning it to E flat, so for people who'd like to use really light strings, these are a great string for E flat. Now I did something quite a bit different than I've done on any other guitar for this one. I actually mixed hardware colors on it. I typically like all the hardware to match, but on this one, I thought it was kind of cool that a couple of the pieces are gold down where the controls are, the selector switch, the kill switch, and the volume knob, and then the tuners and the bridge, the pickups and the pickup rings are all black. It's kind of like the main drivetrain is black and the electrical is gold. I thought about doing all gold hardware, but I thought with the bridge and the tuners, I don't know, I thought it would just be too much gold, if there even is such a thing. What do you guys think of the mixed hardware concept? Do you guys like it? Let me know down in the comments. What would you have done if you built this guitar or you had me build it for you? Now the last thing to do is going to be to wire up the internal cavity. Now, the question is, does it shred? And what does it sound like? Well, there's only one way to find out. This is a song from my old screamo band, luckDOWN. We wrote this song around 2006, and it's called Word for Word Murder. It was always one of my favorite songs of ours to play. It was actually really fun relearning this because I haven't played this in probably 10 years, so it brought back some great memories. Now I've got the guitar's level kind of dialed into the pocket in the mix here. It's not standing out in front, so you don't really hear the guitar. So let's hear the guitar by itself to just hear what it sounds like. It's got that sweet EMG crunch, and keep in mind it is going through an Axe effect, so it's got a heavily compressed tone. Now let's compare the two EXs. On the left is the old EX-50 that I did back in 2006, and on the right we have the black and gold one from 2022. The black and gold one looks way better in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for Season 3 of Trash to Thrash. What a ride it's been so far. I still get messages all the time from you guys telling me things like, I just discovered you yesterday and I'm almost all the way through Trash to Thrash. That is so awesome. It makes me really happy. So thank you guys so much. Huge thanks to the patrons too. I love you guys. And thanks to Greg for reviewing my pedal. If you want to help support Guitar Guts and Trash to Thrash, go sign up to my Patreon. For as little as $1 a month and up to $10 a month, you can join. For $10 a month, you're automatically entered into my monthly raffle for a guitar or other prize package. You guys tell me all the time this channel should be bigger than it is. And I agree. So like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. Do all the YouTube stuff, because that helps a ton. And share the show. I say it all the time, take a screenshot right now of the show and post it on your social media, because even non-guitar players would like watching this show. Of course, you can buy a guitar, the Kill Boost pedal, or a Guitar Guts kill switch. It's all available at guitarguts.com. And you can send your guitar in to be featured on the show. If you want to do that, send me an email, mark@guitarguts.com, also listed down in the description below. And tell me about the guitar, tell me what you'd want done to it, send me some pictures of it, and I'll brainstorm with you on it and give you an estimate. I also have payment plans available. I require a 50% down, and then you can make payments on the balance while I build it, which normally takes about 3 to 6 months. You could also trade in your old guitars, guitar parts, and video game stuff for credit towards your build. Please go subscribe to my second YouTube channel. It's my retro gaming channel called Guitar Guts Gaming. There's also an Instagram that corresponds with it, so check the description below for links to those. And also down there, you'll find a bunch of links to Amazon products. If you saw tools, parts, or supplies used in this video, chances are I added them down to the list below. If you buy through those links, Amazon's going to reward me and it costs you nothing extra. Be sure to return each Thursday during April for some how-to videos and a full shop tour and equipment rundown of all the stuff I'm currently using. Trash to Thrash will return 5 weeks from today, May 5th. That's a Thursday like normal. Thanks so much for watching. Rock on, my friends.